Well, hello, model car fans. Welcome to the Muscle Car Modeler. My name is Raul, and here I am working on my '64 Chevelle Malibu SS project, sponsored by Hobby Nut Models. And this one, if you've been following along, I've been kit bashing and really having a good time with it, and putting the Revell 65 Chevelle Z16's chassis into this. And also, as you can tell from this, chopped it into a convertible. And using many different parts here. Uh, One of the things I've been getting asked a lot, this is for the convertible boot, but this came from the 65 Pontiac GTO AMT kit, which has been out a while ago and issued a few times, but it's been a while since it's been out. And then since then, I've did a little bit more work to the dog legs right here, and then put some primer on them. Got sun visors in there and glued those down, and started some body work on this thing. So, really enjoying this and having some fun with it. Now, it does have a couple of areas where, body-wise, this thing is nice, but it's got some mold lines that are in some areas. Like right here, there's one that runs right across the trunk here, which the trunk itself is not too bad, but it's right here, and it's a little hard to deal with, and it's very subtle, but it's there. And then it's got, here goes the seats. It also has one on the front of the hood here, which you can still kind of see if I get it up close enough. But the letters are right there, so I'm trying not to sand them off. And I'm going to put some bare metal foil over that and paint it. Same thing with these emblems. I'm going to put the bare metal foil on them, paint over them, and polish them. And there's a tiny little dip right here, but this is where the chrome molding goes across. So, but the fab work is done, and even the hood, mine was, this one was broken. So I basically took some plastic that I had in my parts box and glued that all together and shaped it so it's similar. It's not the same, but it's really, really close, and it works. So got that all taken care of, and the chassis fitting the way it's supposed to, which you can, if you haven't seen the older videos, you can go back and reference those. But she's coming along great and almost ready for paint. I got the primer on there, and she just need to do a little bit more body work to it, a couple of little areas, but I'm really happy with where this is at. And then shaped those dog legs and got them glued down and shaped. But I got a couple little areas right in there that whether I'm gonna dress them up super nice, but it needs a little bit more work in there. But with primer on it, I can see what's going on. But a little bit more detail to do, but I'm real happy with the way this thing is coming out. Especially some of the research that has gone into it and kind of looking into the car and following along. But you guys always comment about the research and the things I do looking into it. And, sometimes I get some mistakes or get ahead of myself and get, going on this. One of them, since I'm using the engine from the Revell 64 Impala, which is a real nice rendition of the motors at that particular time frame. And, has pretty much, the main thing was it had the appropriate valve covers, and that was what I was looking for. So this has those valve covers, and I've seen them on a lot of the 64 Chevelles that I was referencing. But, one thing, a couple of you have pointed out, the Impala has these exhaust manifolds, and while I thought, they would be the same between the Chevelle and Impala, because for the longest time I thought the exhaust manifolds were kind of more of a year-specific thing, not really paying attention to exactly when these were used and when they weren't used. But, many of you pointed out that the 64 was one of the first of the rear dump ones. So I went through my parts stash, and I did find these, which is real identical to what my real car had. I had a 71 Chevelle, I have a 71 Chevelle, which some of you have wondered, what sound that is, which engine that is running at the beginning of my video. That's my wife's 71 Chevelle. And while it doesn't have these anymore, it has headers. But it was born with manifolds like this. So I found this set in my stash. And I also found a second set, a little bit thinner, a little bit different, but same design and everything. And these are a little bit bigger, but they seem to line up fairly well and swoop around. So I'm pretty excited about those. But we'll see how they look when they're built. But they're just a hair bigger. But I think these ones will work the best. But we'll keep those in mind when I get to that part. Not quite there for that part of it, but put this in there and that's ready. But engine's painted, and gonna start detailing that. But I've got some more things to do. Interior is gonna be black, and the chassis. So I've got a lot of things to start painting black, and hopefully this weekend I can get farther along and get more painting done to this. But here's the color I did choose. It says Goldwood Yellow, which I don't think is what they called it on the Chevelle. I forgot the name of this, but this is a scale finishes paint. This is base coat. You need to clear it. But this is, the paint I do prefer to use. But this is the color right here. So it's going to be this, cream yellow, which I like this color on this car, especially being a convertible and going to have the black interior and the black chassis parts and everything. So this is going to look really good. And then also, a little bit, because it's a lighter color, some of those mold lines, if I don't get them perfect, this will hide it a little bit as well, which is really cool. But I'll get the bare metal foil on some of that stuff and get this thing in color. So, now that it's pretty much roughed in and all the hard work is actually done, it's coming along. So I'm pretty excited about that. And then even, those I've kind of mentioned, it does have decals for those emblems as well, especially the hood one. So if the polish doesn't come out or something happens there, I've got those as well. So there are options. So we'll be working on that. But it's kind of funny. Sometimes I jump in with both feet. I'm going to show you another convertible project. Sometimes I jump in with both feet and don't really research my project, at the beginning. A lot of times I'll pull up reference material and just kind of, I like this, I like that. And okay, I want to go for a build like that or something real similar. Other times I think I know what I'm doing and I jump into it. But this is one of them. I've mentioned it before. The 71 Olds 442 W30. Now Revell has the 72 convertible kit and the 71. So when I decided I was going to jump into it, I'm like, I want to make a 71 convertible instead of a 72. And I don't know all the details and all the options on the cars. So before I started researching too far into it, I got the convertible body. No big deal there. And I basically wanted to adapt the 71's interior to fit this because the two kits have completely different interiors. So here's the back seat of the 71. And this is after I cut it, sectioned it, narrowed it a little bit, which you can see on the back side here, trimmed it, got this interior convertible piece in there. So now it fits back in here. So there's that. So cut all this up separate. This is all molded as one piece as far as the 72 goes. And then I cut the interior right here just to remove the back seat and to get this to line up. Okay, it lays right on top of there and fills in the gap there because there's a little bit of a gap. And got that lined up. So now I got the rear seat part figured out. And then I went to town modifying these door panels. The 71 kit has these door panels right here. And I wanted to make, adapt the convertible dog legs to it. So you can see where I spliced the two door panels together right there. And then, but since the patterns were different, I sanded the pattern completely off and filled it in from the 72 door panel. Okay, great. Well, it was when I was looking for reference interiors and reference material and everything, I happened to start noticing that only the coupes, hardtops, had these door panels. And it didn't matter if it was a 71 or 72. If it was a hardtop like this, it had, pretty much these seats. If it was a Supreme hardtop, it had what was in the convertible kit. I'm like, okay, I'm a little confused here, not knowing all the details on 442s. And then I started to realize, you know, I'm halfway through this thing, so this project stalled. So, and I started to realize, I'm doing all this work, I'm getting all this done. And the more and more I looked at every 71, 72 convertible, it had the interior in it that was in the Revell 72 convertibles. So I'm like, it can't be that easy to convert a 71 or 72 into a 71. And, sure enough, it looks like all of the convertibles used the Supreme interior, if regardless if it was a 442 or whatnot. But I couldn't find anything that confirmed that. But not seeing any convertibles with this seat pattern, kind of realized that, wait a minute, apparently all the convertibles used that interior and only the coupes used this interior on the 442s. If it was a Supreme, it had the same matching interior. So at that point, this one kind of stalled, and I realized, okay, if I really wanted to make a 71 442 convertible, I just needed to change the taillights. So at that point, it's like, well, I'm this far along. It may not be accurate. It may not be the best way, but I'm going to continue on building this thing. I've already started. I've done the work. And at this point, it's just experience and me learning how to do some of the stuff. So as you can see, I did a bare metal foil casting right here of the coupe's door panel and made a pattern because this was flat, and then trimmed it so it would fit in here as a convertible. And then because the window crank was gone, I basically cut it off the other door panel and glued it on top of there. So that's basically me removing it from the 71 and gluing it onto this portion here. So kind of funny, but all of this came out really, really nice. So I can get it all into this body, and it has all this 71 style interior in it, but it's not technically correct for what this car is. So that's kind of, sometimes I jump in with both feet, and where sometimes my research will bite me, for my passion basically bites me, and I get too far into something before I realize that that's really not correct. But it doesn't stop me from building it. It may not be correct, but it's the challenge. And that one will be nice once I decide what color it is and get back to it. But I roughed in all the hard work. This one, I'm really happy with it, and the way I'm checking it and comparing it to other examples. This one's coming out really, really nice and pretty accurate. But, it helps when the kits are pretty accurate and there aren't that many variants between, coupe and convertible. But it goes into which car am I building, what options I got to look out for, and everything like that. So that stuff kind of happens. It's kind of funny. It happens to me too. Get into a project, getting really into it, and not realizing if I'm making a mistake or not, because I don't know my subject that well. No expert, but I really enjoy this stuff, as you guys can tell as you follow along to my stories and whatnot. So hopefully I get a whole lot more time to paint this thing, get this thing painted yellow and the black, and really start getting this thing assembled, because this isn't going to be much longer as far as getting this one done. So you guys, thank you for tuning in and subscribing and all your comments and listening to me and following along as I build and have a good time with these. And you guys, you have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you next time.